So in today's video we're going to go over Luna. Maybe you should wait to buy this. I'll explain. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, subscribe, bell button, leave a like. Now before you start throwing into the comments and stuff, we need to talk about this in terms of psychological kind of stuff. Now I know it's Christmas, I know everyone's a bit happy and stuff, and Merry Christmas, welcome back to the channel. However, we're going to talk about psychological kind of stuff, FOMO, profit taking, all kinds of good stuff. Because I know I got a lot of backlash from saying, don't buy Luna. Just, if you're new to the space and you've seen this, maybe just wait. The ideology is you lose nothing by waiting. And I know it's hard for people to get over, but what if it goes up? All these influencers now talking about it. This is where the weakness will come in. Whales will manipulate you. Money will be moved from the impatient to the patient hands. This is where you get wrecked. The last person to buy the wave will always get damaged worse. That's usually how it happens, right? So we're going to talk about it on terms of price analysis. We'll keep it super simple. We'll look at the BTC pair. We will also look at the USDT pair, because I think it is very, very important. We'll look at a few other things in terms of metrics of what you can do with profit, where you can move it to, what you can do, and also leveraging a bit of the Luna ecosystem if you so wish to. So welcome back. Hi. So this is the Luna website. If you've not seen it before, it's totally changed. I featured it a long time ago. Yeah, I didn't buy it. Yeah, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, if you're brand new in the space, you don't really want to be kind of throwing your money at something that's gone mental. There's other ways, other parts of the ecosystem that will house you some money, and we will talk about those in a minute. But I want to talk over the charts first. But this is a solid project. But don't get, blinded with greed, because this is what's happened, right? Go to the weekly time frame. You'll be able to see very, very clearly what has happened, if my internet works, obviously. We've done a massive run, monster run, and this is where you need to kind of have a little bit of a thought process of what you want to do. Now, as I say, right, it's done a run, and there's nothing really I can say other than maybe just be patient. And when you start looking at certain things, so the one big red flag is this divergence over the RSI. Like, we've already had certain levels. It's not fully complete yet, but if we do start to turn around, this will be a big print, and a weekly version of that is pretty significant. Go down to the 3-day chart. You can see a similar sort of obvious element here, and even here, realistically, like from that point, we're level right now. So yeah, bit toppy. But where have we been? We're going to go from this impulse wave to this pullback, and you can see it here. And I know this looks very, very cool and stuff, but we're literally, I think, near a top, personally. This is an impulse wave on the 3-day chart. We pulled back into the trend on the EMA 21, into the 618 as well. So huge confluence of an uptrend, and we've gone right up to roughly where these extension levels are. So maybe this level here, maybe, obviously, it is Christmas, it is a Santa rally, could be an area where people will be starting to take some profit. Now, let's just say if that is a top, the only thing that you can kind of figure out is kind of if it does turn around from that point, roughly around that area, where we're going to go back to. Now, in terms of this being a bullish trend as well, look at the EMA, look at the 21 EMA. Prices like to fall down to there over time, right? This is why I'm taking money off the table, little increments, and if you've not done this yet, you should, because taking just 10%, 20% out at certain levels as it progresses up is a good thing, right? We want to talk about profits in a minute, and it's important to do so because you can utilize the ecosystem to make more money and also other tools. But realistically, it probably will come down, even though, right, this is a caveat. If Bitcoin is bullish, we will look at the BTC pair as well. This will obviously still go up because of the BTC factor of the USD. But realistically, though, if the BTC pair is getting weaker on the other side, eventually this will start to kind of correct. It's gone parabolic, and if you're not seeing that, you should be seeing that. And if you are looking to buy this right now, wait. And the areas that I would be looking to buy would be kind of clearly here. The previous all-time high is one level where you can go, well, maybe around 75 bucks, I can buy it. It could also go much lower. We could go to the 618 levels, or it can actually go towards where the current on a 3-day chart EMA is of roughly here, give or take, which, yeah, it's definitely possible. You've just got to be very, very mindful of where these levels are, and you can utilize structure. Look at where things have been in the past and how things have held up. Now, people will be like, well, yeah, it could happen. It's unlikely due to fundamentals, development, and all kinds of stuff. But the one thing that I will say is hype. Hype will always change your perspective of a market. Even though the fundamentals are good and all the developments are good and it's a great asset and it's growing, if people are like, well, I've made my money on that, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to move it somewhere else, and then they'll buy something else, and then this will kind of trail off a bit, then they'll come back to it. Now, if we're looking at future targets as well, let's just say if we do a nice correction, right, and we do pull back into a level of demand, whether it's that level or even lower, we've also got other extensions a bit higher up. Now, we could easily, comfortably get used to the idea of being, oopsie, wrong thing, I'll delete that, being much higher than $100, where we could be looking at roughly 115 or maybe even higher towards that extension there, if this trend is going to remain bullish and continue the upside projection, which is relatively high, as you kind of know, in terms of market cap and all kinds of good stuff. But things have to cool off. They have to kind of settle down. And yes, we could continue this trend, come back in, and then go even higher. Supply, demand, all the kind of distribution levels as well of profit is important. Now let's talk about profit, because one thing that I often mention is BlockFi. You can utilize this very simply if you're looking to take profit into Luna, put it into some stable coins, and then maybe, if you so want to, move it into something like BlockFi until maybe you want to potentially accumulate a little bit more. So if you have made a decent chunk of money, you can make a decent amount of interest per year and just sit on it and be happy. But the one thing that I want to talk about as well is you can actually utilize USD on the Terra network, UST it's called. It's pegged to the dollar as always, fully decentralized in its own way, and you can do this on Anchor protocol, which, oh dear, what's that? Go away. Go away. There we go. It's all on here, and it's roughly around 18 to 19%. There you go. Deposit APY. It's a beautiful 19.43%. So that is utilizing the entire ecosystem of Luna. So 20%, that's huge, right? It's massive. It's monstrous. It's great. But you need profit to do it. So don't be just topping into a asset. Now, as I said before, profit is king, right? Taking a little bit off. If you've not yet done this, right, and I encourage it, you'll feel much better, especially when Santa's coming tomorrow and you may be a bit flappy. If you bought this, say, in June, July, even August, right, or even October, to be fair, and you've not took anything off the table, you should be. And then if you want to, utilize that Anchor protocol into some stable currencies, because it's nothing worse than leaving money on the table and watching it evaporate. So maybe it's a good time to go, well, 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever it may be, pull it out. Now, let's look at the BTC pair, because I think this is also important. My internet I think it's died. I'm not going to lie. Come on. Work. It may be laggy. Oh, no, it's all right. Again, similar sort of vibes, but I think this is more toppy, right? Why? BTC dominance is low. Right now, it is incredibly low. It may well go up due to the BTC being a bit more vibrant and bullish, right? There's also a more obvious divergence on the 3-day chart and the RSI, very, very clear. And this was a chart that I showed on Twitter yesterday, and people were like, what? You're an idiot, not going to make it. But realistically, this is a worse chart, because this has FOMO'd even more, because it's the BTC pair. If BTC does a worldy run, this is going to fall, regardless of how good Luna is, because it will be, it will lose ground, because they always do. It always happens, right? It's kind of factual. Now, again, looking at structure, we're going to go from this low to this impulse here. We've pulled back massively into a level of demand, and then we've done an absolute rocket. We went way above this level, which is pretty good. You can put other extensions on there, but I don't go too far because it kind of gets a bit far-fetched. This is a hallmark sign of a parabolic move. If the BTC pair does this, you know it's hot, very, very hot. And you don't really want to be risking your BTC to buy into this. Now, people were tweeting me going, oh, but it's went up 20%. No, it's not. It's went up 3% since my tweet, realistically, right? It's not done much. And it's showing all the hallmarks that this could be pulling back. Now, again, let's look at the next level. If we're looking on the 3-day chart, I'm going to go from this point to this pullback. I always go from clear to clear, so clear pullback, not that one, but this one here. We are kind of just about above a certain level. So you can see these were pulled right the way back into 382, and now we're trying to break above this level. Yeah, we could go a little bit higher, but is it really worth, let's be honest here, buying right now and potentially going there? Is it really worth 15% risking your BTC when realistically, if you bought like say in October time, I know it's like we're going to go from very, very subjective material here, why would you risk it when you could have had much higher of like a 3x on your BTC? You're not going to. It's not worth the risk, which is why it's always better to wait. Now, if we're looking at this as well, and we're going to go from, say, where we've just kind of been from, where it's kind of done a little bit of an impulsey, from this wick here, which is kind of a good place to be. Let's just say if this is a potential top level, we could easily fall back down to where these levels are here, right? Where that 618 is and where the previous all-time high is. So let's be honest here. I know this is subjective because it hasn't quite printed yet, but we have a level of structure there, which is important. Another level of structure, which is way down into the abyss, is obviously here. And the one just above there, guess what, where these wicks have been. Now, I'll leave this on my chart. I'll see what happens in the future, right? But those are levels where you can potentially dollar cost average. Now, the caveat to this one is BTC. You are risking your Bitcoin to buy into it, right? Fair enough. But you don't really want to be losing it, especially if BTC goes on a run. I think BTC is looking pretty decent. Realistically, over the last few days, it's been a bit stronger. But it has been a bit bearish as well because people are panicking and flapping. It is Christmas time. It may well go wrong. If BTC runs, as I say, we're going to notice that this is going to come back down. Because essentially when we start looking at the BTC pairs and also the dominance chart of BTC where we are right now, we're at floor levels. If we do start to correct going back up again and start looking maybe to go towards 46% or even 52%, Luna and all the other coins that have done well recently will start to suffer a little bit. And all the suffering will be a pullback. Simple as that. Because money, profit will roll over out of the market into stables or into BTC essentially, therefore diluting what the price action's doing on this chart alone. If BTC does well though, the USD pair, that will still continue. However, you will lose some BTC. So are you willing to potentially wait for a potential pullback? Now, first level, you're looking at 24% down. That level, 42% down. And again, 50% roughly, right? Huge levels, but as I say, it doesn't matter if the coin's good, bad, or ugly, whatever. It's BTC. If BTC goes for a run, and if you don't understand this terminology and how the dominance chart works, you should learn it because you may find that you bought something overvalued and you need to wait for that pullback. Because if BTC, as I said, goes for a run and these pull back naturally, dominance will go up. Simple as that. Even though USD pair is making money. You may find with this asset, if BTC goes for a run, you'll make USD dollars, but you may actually lose 25% of your portfolio wealth in BTC by just sitting on it. Crazy. So, have a good Christmas. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please, please, please just take something off the table if you've not done so. It doesn't matter if it carries on going up because you're still in the bag. What I mean by partial profit is simple. Take 5%, 10%, whatever it may be, all right? Just be happy. Enjoy.